in my experience of Instagram, I've had this moment of realization that it's okay to say no, because it's in line with who you are and what you want for your business right now.
Hey, my feel good friends. Today we are chatting with one of the greats. Tania Cuturi is not only a courage coach from across the pond in London, England, but she is also one of my one-on-one coaching clients. And I absolutely adore this woman. When she came to me, she was a little bit nervous to bring her brand onto Instagram. She didn't really know how to show up in the best way. She was a little timid to post, a little confused about how it all worked and what was going to work for her. And over the past almost year now, I have seen her go from, confused, timid, shy to having the confidence to show up on freaking IG Live, to create reels that are hilarious and that she actually enjoys creating, and also to just show up consistently and batch plan her content ahead of time so that she can see the best results. So, that this conversation is going to be a fun one. We do get a little nerdy with it because not only do we talk about Instagram, how to show up with confidence, how to do the scary things and take action, even when it's a little nerve-wracking, but we also talk about coaching and if coaching could be right for you, how to choose the best coach, what improvement you can see by hiring a coach, all those things. I absolutely love it. I cannot wait for you to tune in. But I do want to remind you, if you are enjoying this episode at all, if you find Tania inspiring or you think that what we're saying is valuable, please share it with a friend who needs to hear it as well. You're trying to grow this community, my feel-gooders, and I would absolutely love for you to just genuinely recommend us to your biz buddies as well. And if you want, go ahead and share it to your Instagram stories. Don't forget to tag me at Feel Good Social and Tania at Tania Cuturi Coaching so that we can see, we can reshare it, we can spread the love right back to you. Are you ready for this? Let's dive in. Hey, friend, and welcome to the Feel Good Social Podcast. I'm your host, Kinsey, and I'm here to help you market your business in a genuine way that works without wasting your precious time. On this show, we chat about social media strategy and mindset tips with a focus on, you guessed it, feeling good. So sit back, relax, and enjoy some genuine conversation for the good of your biz. Have you been struggling to hone in on your brand's vibe on social media? I created a free new guide just for you, my friend. I hear it all the time. My photos aren't flowing together. My graphics look weird. My captions all sound different. I get it, and I'm here to help. With this free worksheet, you'll clarify who your brand is on social media. I'll walk you through the steps to figuring out your brand's story, what your brand sounds like, and what your brand looks like, so you can show up consistently with beautiful posts and build your followers' trust. Whether you've been complaining about your grid not being cohesive or your captions all sounding off, this brand vibe worksheet will help. Just head to feelgoodsocial.com/brand vibe to get this free guide. That's feelgoodsocial.com/BRANDVIBE, and you'll be on your way to branding clarity. All right, let's dive into today's episode. Hi, Tania. Thank you so much for joining us, lady. I'm so excited to have you on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yay. Okay, well, I did already introduce you, a little bit of the intro, but I would love to hear from you. Who are you? What do you do? And who do you serve?
Yay. So first of all, you'll hear a little bit of my accent. I'm French, Italian, Spanish. I'm an executive coach, but I have branded myself as a courage and confidence coach. I help female entrepreneurs around courage and confidence when they feel a little bit lost and overwhelmed, kind of how we have been feeling lately.
Yes, this is very important this year, especially for sure. Oh, lady, I love everything that you do. How did you kind of get started coaching and everything?
So I actually worked in finance for almost 8 years after I graduated from business school, and after that I left to do something completely different. I worked in property management, and actually the story comes from my husband who came back home one day, and my husband works in finance as well, and I kind of speak with him a lot about work. We talk a lot about work. I know that for a lot of couples, they don't talk about work together, but we do. It's something that kind of have united us, and that's how we met
Mhm.
at work. And he said to me that he got assigned a business coach, and I was like, "What do you mean? I'm your coach?" So I said, I want to meet this coach of yours, and I want to see what he's doing, because I'm very interested in that profession. This is something, when I was working in finance, I had a small team. Then I worked in property management. It was the same thing. And I really have a passion to kind of spend time with people and help people. And I'm eager to learn from them and to share with them. And so when I went to see this business coach of my husband, he said to me, "You need to fall completely and utterly in love with coaching if you want to be serious about it, and do the barefoot coaching course, which is part of a
Mhm.
university here in the UK." So I did that, and both of those things happened, and I started coaching, and here I am today.
Oh, I know. I love that. I feel like, I don't know if you grew up this way, but when it comes to coaching and stuff, I always kind of, growing up in Indiana, sports are giant. You just think of like a sports coach kind of thing and whatnot. And so this whole concept of having a coach for life, or having a coach for your mindset, or having a coach for your business, was kind of a new concept to me, like when I entered the entrepreneurial space and whatnot. And so I think that it's so interesting when, I don't know, we like our journeys into finding ourselves and finding what that looks like and all the stuff.
Yeah, completely. And it does come from the sports field, the term coaching. It's literally like it's a mean that takes you from point A to point B, and you can get to point B faster thanks to the help of a coach. And this right now, when maybe 10 years ago it was still a kind of a new profession, right now I think we are submerged by the word coach and coaching. So
Yes.
you kind of have to pick the right one, and make sure that you get those sessions, initial sessions, that you choose the right person for you.
For sure. Okay, I would actually love to chat with you about this a little bit because you're so right. I feel like, 10 years ago, we were all like, what the heck is a business coach, or what the heck is a mindset coach? And now everyone and their sister seems to be a coach these days. I mean, I call myself a coach. And so I'd love to hear just how should we kind of go about choosing the right coach for us?
Yeah, so I think, like, it is personal in the sense that it is all about the chemistry that you will have with the person.
Mhm.
But you have to make the most of what the coaches are offering to you initially, and they very often give you the opportunity to spend time with them and work with them for free. So maybe it's 20 minutes, maybe it's half an hour, and you can ask them as many questions as you want. But very often you will maybe check the background on internet, on the website or Instagram, and then you start having the conversations with them, and you see if that person is a fit. Some people like to be coached by more experienced and people that have succeeded in certain areas, that have expertise in their field, like in finance or in property management, which are the two that I have expertise on. But some others will care more about maybe the mindset and other areas where maybe they're lacking opening and understanding. So it's very much what you need at that time, and see if that person will be a fit. So yes, make the most of those sessions that I call chemistry sessions, that we call chemistry sessions here in the UK.
Yeah, for sure. I love that. I know it is kind of difficult sometimes to choose the right person, or if you're like me, I want to work with everyone. So I love that you brought in that fact, like, what do I want to gain from my coaching, right? That's what I always bring it back to whenever I teach, as well as start with your goals. We're putting in effort in some area because we want to achieve something, or we're trying to get somewhere, right? So what is that? Think about
Yeah,
that first, and then kind of bring it back to, okay, now who can get me there, who just like I feel comfortable with and works well with me.
exactly. And it's understanding who will be able to challenge you the right way. Very often we are drawn to people that look like us in every single aspect of our
Mhm.
lives, and we need to challenge ourselves sometimes to maybe work with people that will think differently than we do, and they might kind of bring up new ways of seeing the way we work, the way we think, and that will open our mindset. And as a coach
Mhm.
myself, that's what I try to do as much as possible, also with my clients, and try and understand, the different backgrounds and sensitivities of each of them, because you can't coach everybody the same way, and you need to adapt to these situations.
Yeah, totally. I love that. Exactly. I love that you bring up like challenging yourself and maybe like bringing a little more diversity into your life in the form of like values and beliefs and the way people think, people's perspective on the world and all that stuff. It kind of reminded me of through doing like the anti-racism work and whatnot, they really encourage you to diversify your feed, right, on
Yeah,
Instagram, so that you're getting different opinions and you can be like a more wholesome person, maybe,
yeah.
in the way you see the world and whatnot.
Exactly. And we're not always encouraged to do that in a natural way. So we need to kind of do it ourselves. There's nobody else that can do it for us. And in coaching, it is the same. It's exactly what you've brought up now.
Yeah, I'd love to chat with you a little bit. I think that we've had this conversation before, how there's a difference between a coach and a mentor and maybe like a therapist or
Yeah.
something. Can you speak to a little bit what that looks like?
Yeah, so I get asked this question a lot, and to be honest, in a coaching session, you can be a little bit of the three. So
Mhm.
just to simplify, a coach is somebody who will help you look forward, who will not necessarily stop and analyze your past. That's more the role of a therapist. However, sometimes in coaching, you need to kind of understand those repeated patterns that keep coming back. Why you
Mhm.
self sabotage yourself, for instance, at an interview. I had a client like that who would rather not show up at an interview than just getting a negative answer and find excuses to remain in the current role she was in. So you need to look at this rear view mirror at times as a coach as well. And the mentor is, I see it as somebody who will tell you what they think is best for you to do. So they might sometimes tell you, I think you should be focusing on, I don't know, marketing, and maybe you wanted to focus on something a bit different. And it's a bit more restrictive because a mentor will kind of guide you and tell you what to do. The coach is there to hold the mirror, and you look at your reflection, but you make up your mind of what you see. So they're there to assist you, to hold your hand at times, to push you in other times, and
Yeah.
to be your partner. And we say your cerebral partner in your journey, so you can play with them in an exchange, an equal exchange.
Yeah, I love that. I think that just in my own personal experience, like I've responded personally the best to a coach versus a therapist or a mentor situation. And I'm kind of curious because we work together for one-on-one coaching for social media. Do you think I should keep calling myself a coach? Do you think that that's our relationship?
I think so. Yes, I think you tick all of these boxes as a coach for social media, in the sense that you will make sure you understand the starting point of the journey.
Mhm.
First of all, you understand the person as a whole. So that's kind of what in coaching what we do is very often initially you spend a lot of time understanding the person and what they want to achieve, and this is exactly what you do in your sessions, and then you challenge them after after some time. Like for me, in Instagram now for what, since the lockdown, the first lockdown. So it's been 8 months. And then you kind of every single month you were pushing me a bit more, without pushing me too much, which is also
Mhm.
very important to understand as a coach, because you get sometimes very excited when you see the potential in the client, and you're like, okay,
Mhm.
let's do everything. Let's make sure we do all the exercises and the homework. And but if you go too fast, you kind of lose the person along the way, as you well know. When you set unrealistic goals, as long as you take, small first, second, third, fourth steps, that's okay. But if you set unrealistic goals and then unrealistic steps, then you won't succeed. So you are very well, and very 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 well a coach.
Yay, I love it, and thank you so much for indulging me on that, and honestly too, yeah, I feel like that is something I've kind of had to develop and work on and be cautious around, I guess, as a coach myself, right? Because you know me, I do get excited about a lot of things very easily and want to jump in. But exactly, it's kind of learning to, okay, how much time, like what are these people's goals realistically? How much time do you have to put into it? And what can we achieve? And then I feel like another thing I've kind of learned this year in coaching is like, and I think I've learned in my business as well, and just like as a human, is to be gentle with yourself, right? So, like, we set these goals and all of those things, and we want to try to achieve them. But if COVID happens, if life happens, then, you know, you have to kind of readjust and you have to give yourself and your clients as a coach the space to readjust goals and like reformat them. Do you run into that at all?
Yes, I thank you for that, because during the journey, on Instagram and being consistent on social media, there has been times with COVID and lockdown and the kids being at home, where I would not be able to do what you were suggesting me doing, but you normalized things for me, with your support, by telling me that, just take this as a test, and maybe next month you'll be able to do a bit more, or you'll learn from that journey. So it's okay if you're not showing up the way you would like to show up during these weeks, but
Mhm.
let's move it to next month and adjust it. I did continue showing up, maybe in a different way. So it's kind of understanding that there are different ways to succeed, and keeping at it and keeping with the goal in mind. So yes, readjusting to that. And in coaching, when I work with my clients on time management, we work along those lines of creating that flexibility, especially when you have children, or when you have different priorities or different jobs that you're working on. Learning how to be a little bit more flexible. It's tough, but you can get there.
Yeah, yes, for sure. I know if 2020 has done anything to us, it's made us realize that we need to be flexible as humans, right? Okay, well, I would love to chat with you just a little bit about your journey with social media because I do feel like so many of my listeners are in your shoes or in your shoes where you were when we started working together, which was kind of ground zero when it came to Instagram. What has your journey with social media looked like? I guess let's just start there.
Yes. So I think that COVID and the fact that my clients had cancelled when the lockdown happened, because most of my clients, if not 100% of my clients or 99% of my clients, were face to face.
Mhm.
And I had a complete different way of working. I would go, it would be maybe outside in the park, or it would be in my office, and they would come home and I have everything set up for them. I have the cards, I have, the papers, the colors, the stickers. I mean, everything set up for my coaching. I'm very creative in my coaching as well. And when we went on Zoom and online, I was feeling completely lost, and I was thinking, how am I going to be able to coach at a distance when before it was a one-off kind of thing, and I kind of decided to use that time and look at social media. So that's how it started. I knew that it would be something that I wanted to do, that I had to do in a way that I wanted to grow a community, and I wanted to keep myself challenged and to keep learning and to keep sharing what I was learning, because that's my passion. Is everything I'm learning, I want to share it. So the best way to do that is to use Instagram or any social media platform, because you have fantastic people to follow. And somebody referred me to you as well as somebody else, but I really enjoyed you and your vibe and what you were offering, and your podcast as well that you had. And so that's how I started. If I wanted to start something like that, I found was a massive gap for me from zero
Mhm.
to having a platform on Instagram. I wanted to hire somebody to help me out, but what you were offering that was different to other social media coach was that you were not telling me, I'm going to write your content for you. You were saying you're going to take ownership of, and that's why you're also a coach, is because you're helping the person, you know, um, gain ownership of their future, and you're not saying, okay, I'm doing that for you, by the way. So that's what I liked about you. I felt very scared initially, because I didn't think I'd be able to write posts and understand about everything, the different application later, and Canva and everything. I was a bit overwhelmed by all that, but the way you structure it, by doing a very simple, there's not too many application that we have to download. It just, the whole process was very simple, because I had no client time during those first few months. I just dedicated it to that. The free time that I had was on that, so it was perfect. And it was enjoyable, because I love what I do as well. I'm very passionate about anything related to my mindset and self-care, and everything that I'm reading as well. So I kind of transform that into content, and the fact that you are there to kind of make the post, just the little tweaks that you make to make the post more enjoyable for the reader, just changes the experience, and makes it fun.
Yeah, yes, that's what I'm going for. I love it.
Exactly. So I want to say, that's why I'm sorry I've interrupted you, but during that journey, I have encountered a challenge, because I kind of started feeling that it was less fun when I was comparing myself to others that were selling on social media a lot. They were doing launches, etc., etc. And I thought that maybe that would be something I should be doing at some point. I had been on Instagram for 6 months, and I could see that people were getting more clients this way, etc. So I tried that, and it was so demanding in terms of time and in terms of effort. For the reward wasn't necessarily matching, that I felt a bit overwhelmed there. And this
Mm.
is when I pressed the pause button, and I decided not to continue to that direction, even if that meant it would take me longer, maybe, to keep consistent and to keep showing up. But the other approach, which was much more salesy, which was much more showing about my private life, etc. as well, I wasn't comfortable as much. So I decided not to go there. So in my experience of Instagram, I've had this moment of realization that it's okay to say no, because it's in line with who you are and what you want for your business right now.
Yeah, yes. I totally love that you brought that up as well because I completely agree. Like, there isn't just one way to do Instagram, right? There isn't even one way to do Instagram for a certain industry or for like a super small niche or anything like that. I think it really depends on like you as an individual. And I honestly believe that the best way you will grow a genuine following and reach the people you want to reach is by showing up in a way that you can be yourself, in a way that you enjoy and you're excited about, and that gets those people excited about it as well, right?
Yeah.
And so, okay, I feel like that said, we should maybe talk a little bit about reels because this is your new fun adventure and I'm loving the reels you're creating. What's been your experience with reels and what's going on there, lady?
Oh my God, one can waste so much time on reels. This is just insane.
Yeah, yeah.
But I mean, it was easier to do reels than to start doing an IG live, I would say, because you can just record and record again and again, and it's not just you're just going live straight away. So
Mhm.
I find that if you're someone who's a bit creative, you'll enjoy them a lot. There's music, there's you can think of props, you can think of different ways of promoting yourself, and you can have a good laugh. So I would say use reels in your down days, when you should have days when you record on Instagram, right? When you decide you're going to be recording. But when you feel a bit down and there's a content that you're not sure about, that you don't want to, that you're not sure you want to post that, maybe it's time to do a reel. I decided to do it yesterday. I had quite a down day yesterday, and I just said, okay, I'm going to post a reel instead of posting a content, because I was being quite negative about the content. So I find the reel is it's a good way to kind of change your mindset as well on Instagram when you're a bit down.
Yeah. I know. I feel like it's easier if you're one of those people who like is kind of worried about being silly or whatever, like Reels is a good tool for that to like not only like be creative when you're creating content, but also like people expect silliness in Reels somewhat. So that's like a way to maybe get comfortable with it as well.
Yeah.
And also, it's just, yeah, it's just pretty fun. We had a lot of fun brainstorming. I want to tell you, I came up with an idea for a reel. Do you know the Mariah Carey song, All I
Yeah,
Want for
love it.
Christmas Is You? Okay, so I'm going to create a reel where I'm like recording for the podcast, and all of a sudden the music starts playing, and I'm like, what? Like confused. And then I just like hit it with like the first, I knew you'd appreciate
I like that.
hit it, like
I
sing the
can't wait
first
to see
line.
it.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I still need hopefully by the time this podcast comes out, I will have created
You're going to become amazing at reels. I can see that 2021.
it. Oh man. Oh man. I can only hope, lady. Okay, let's talk a little bit about IG lives. Because this was one of those things that, we took baby steps with you for Instagram. We got you kind of creating content, which by the way, you were amazing at. A lot of people have trouble writing the captions and a lot of people have trouble with what should I say, but like you just let it flow, lady. You are one of my clients that is awesome at that. But then, I forget how long into our journey we decided to start talking about going IG live and whatnot. And it was kind of one of those scary steps for you. It was kind of putting yourself out there. So how did that feel, I guess? And do you feel like maybe more confident now that you've gone IG live quite a few times at this point?
Yeah. I at first you kind of want to hide and run away. It's like anything new that's thrown your way and that is challenging. You want to run away or you want to hide. Depends how your defense mechanism is. And just having to do a video live and showing myself completely vulnerable. I am missing 3 tooth as well, disaster. And I was like, I don't want to show up this way. I'm not sure. What am I going to say? Who's going to listen to me? What if I say the wrong thing? What if it's boring? All the negative self-talk. But if you kind of focus on yourself and your worth, and you remember why you're doing what you're doing and who you've served, and if you kind of keep these people in mind when you do those IG live, like you keep telling me, just think of one of your best clients when you talk on. Even now, you've said to me, just think of this person who's somebody that you can help and you've helped in the past. So just remembering and imagining them, and as long as you're helping a few, it should be enough, and that's what you need to start going. And if you love what you do, and that the musician Brooke White, in one of the podcasts that I listen, she says, all you need is love. And by love is not just the love of others, but it's the passion and the love for what you do. You don't need to have confidence to start. The confidence will come by physically doing, by having, it won't be just an internal thing. It's also an external thing. It has to come from the outside to be built in the inside. You need to take the first step. You need the fear to come to you and decide to still do it to build confidence. So yes, I have become more confident, but I am not 100% confident at all. And I think that's okay. It's just okay also to accept that having a little bit of this love, like Brooke White says, it's also what keeps you going. Having a little bit of this positive stress that I talk about as well on my latest IG live, this like positive stress, this eustress that keeps you motivated and excited. Because imagine you kept doing the same thing over again and again, you'd get bored. You're in a stage of stagnation. So we all need a little bit of that challenge, and then having somebody, a coach, or sometimes you don't need anybody, but with me I needed you to kind of be like, okay, so prep talk, it's okay. And I love when you say, nobody cares that much anyways. Or when you tell me, it's, think of it as a test. There's some sentences that work. Maybe some sentences will work with you and some others will work for me. So that's why also in the world, we have to think that, when we say, oh, there's so many coaches out there, but maybe I'll say the same thing as another coach, but the way I say it, you will like it more than if somebody else is saying it in their own way. So that's about the chemistry that I'm talking to you about. So you have to remember that exists also. So when you do those IG lives, that's what helped me. Breathe in and out, do some meditation before, and go out there and think that, it's a test. And, I'm hoping that I'll get better at it. And I know I will get better at it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, exactly. Like, I love what you said about, I love what you said about just taking action, right? I think that might be the hardest part sometimes for people, is taking action and then being consistent with action. Like, no one is going to, I think you've said this before. I think I read this in one of your Instagram captions when I was revising them. Like, no one's going to be perfect at something right out the gate. And so you have to be willing to accept that you're going to suck at first.
Oh, completely.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a client, and I had a session with a client last week, and I think it's her 4th course she's taking to do videos on social media, and she hasn't done a single video yet. And I mean, she knows that she's procrastinating completely and finding excuses not to do any videos. Yeah, but I'm not sure how to put the The lighting. I didn't buy the right light yet, and I don't really like talking about myself like that. I want to have somebody to have an interview with, and it's COVID and so many excuses, and now we laugh about it. So I'm like, so which course have you registered to? And she's laughing, but at least she's realizing that she's postponing it for that. And I keep telling her, just send me a video of yourself, and then we'll take it from there. But it's very, very hard to take that step sometimes, and you just need to keep trying to take that step and to have somebody push you to do it and be uncomfortable and be vulnerable and face those fears.
Yeah. And I think that that's somewhat sometimes like what a coach can be so great at as well, right? Is like not having to do that step alone. Like it's gonna
Yeah.
be scary no matter what with a coach or alone. But like if you have a coach on your side cheering you on, like it's just like, okay, I have a friend at least.
No, completely. I tell another client that had to do a presentation, I told her, when you do the presentation, just check who looks very friendly and make sure that you pin the image of that person.
Mm-hmm.
And imagine you're just talking to that person, a bit what you were telling me earlier.
Yeah.
Just think you're talking to somebody that you've served in the past and that you've helped in the past too. You'll always have negative comments. You'll always have the haters, and you kind of, I don't know if you're ever prepared for that.
Right.
But what you can prepare your mind on is maybe, the unexpected questions, and maybe the fact that you might fail or you might not say exactly what you wanted to say, and that's okay. But if you manage to think that, okay, you have control of how you're going to react to that, and think creatively, and that's, you need to train your brain to get to that stage, because the emotion takes over straight away otherwise.
Yeah, yes. Oh man, I know. I love all of this stuff. And I love so much that you keep bringing up the like speaking directly to a specific person. And yeah, I give that advice all the time, not only for, podcast interviews or IG lives or whatever, but also for your captions, right? Like that makes caption writing way easier if you're like writing it to a specific person. And then also, I think maybe from like that weird mindset place on the other side of it, like, if someone does come to me and say, Kinsey, you're like, I had like a bad podcast review, I don't know, like 6 months ago. And the lady was like, she sounds so cringy. She laughs a lot and yada, yada. And I was like, oh, I wasn't speaking to you, B. Biatch. No, I'm just kidding. But like seriously though, like it's almost easier when you're speaking to a specific person to like then if the haters do come to be like, okay, well, I wasn't speaking to you. You're obviously not that person.
Exactly. Let's laugh just for her.
Yeah, right. I know. It was a learning lesson. And honestly, I think because I've been kind of working on the mindset stuff this year, it was easier to manage. I think like if I would have gotten a bad podcast review 6 months before that, I would have like taken it to heart, crying on the phone to my mom, like, Mom, I was cringy. But because I was like practicing on putting myself out there, practicing, just managing my mindset in a healthier way leading up to that, it was almost like, this is a test and I'm going to react. It's exactly what you said before. You can choose how you react to situations. And I was like, I'm going to react to this in like a healthier way. And I can manage this because of the practice, because of the work I've been doing for sure.
Yeah, I think that what you're saying is spot on. And it's also practice, like I remember one of the exercises that I did when I was training as a coach was, when you're somebody who dislikes confrontation or criticism, you can put yourself out there slowly. And I remember one of the exercises was, okay, so if you disagree on something and you're not saying it, try with something very, very small. It can be, I don't know, when you're at the bar or something and the person had the wrong order, but instead of saying it's okay and just, leaving the bar and not saying anything. That's an extreme example, but start small this way.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're somebody who doesn't like conflict, and there's different levels of conflict, because I don't dislike certain conflicts, for instance,
Mm-hmm.
and some of my clients will not shy away of certain type of conflicts, but there are others that somehow, because the person might be, important for their business, etc., or a client, they will shy away and they will not say that this is not exactly the way they'd like it to be. And that's the little nuance that's very important. And this is where you need to practice, getting a response that you were not going to expect in getting.
Yeah.
And the same way as your negative comment, I don't know the expression, but apparently it's usually a way, it's usually a sign of success when you get negative comments. Means that when you have a lot of people that will comment on what you do, even in a negative way. So it can be also a sign that people, starting to be a bit jealous of your success. So it can be also a positive, right? So,
Yeah.
you might get more in the future, and that's okay. You'll be better at receiving it.
Yeah, yes, I love that you brought that up too because I think I did call my mom. I don't think I was crying. I think I was just like sassy Kinsey over here. But I was like, well, she took the time to leave a review. That's like
Exactly.
some time out of her day. So I'm just gonna take that and hold on to it. That's fine. I love that, and also I love what you said too about even dealing with conflicts and stuff is a practice. And like you kind of just have to start trying to communicate in certain ways. And I think that this is kind of coming full circle to what you said before about how certain people can say certain things and present ideas in different ways, right? And so it comes the same with dealing with conflict almost is like you need to practice in those small baby steps dealing with conflict so that you can kind of hone in on your best way to deal with it and whatnot.
Yeah. If you let your emotion take over, then it never comes out the best way. So that's some work we do, especially when we do some relationship management, whether it's at work with a boss, or even at home with your partner.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another area, complete different area, but is kind of understanding how you're choosing to respond. And there's one philosopher that I love very much, who's Alfred Adler, and he summarizes the way we choose to respond to challenges, and it can be any challenges into two ways. Like it's like a pyramid. I don't know if you say pyramid or pyramid.
Pyramid. Yeah.
Pyramid. Thank you. So when you look at a pyramid, you only see two sides, right? And the third one is kind of hidden, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have to, unless you see it from a plane.
Mm-hmm.
And the two sides is the way you would respond to a challenge is either, oh, poor me, my past, I had a difficult childhood, poor me. That's why I'm like that today. And the other side is that bad person. So you say, okay, it's because of that bad person, or because of my boss, because he doesn't like me, because he's jealous. But what we tend to forget is that there's a third way to respond to challenges, which is, okay, so what am I going to do about it now?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of owning the future and not letting those two other elements, your past and your childhood and your difficult mother or your difficult boss, define what you're going to do with your future. So I think in coaching, you try to help the person get more and more ownership of their choices and of their steps. Yes, they might have had a difficult past, or they might have a difficult relationship, but are they going to let themselves be defined by it forever, or are they going to create a new future for themselves?
Yeah. Wow. That is resonating so hard with me right now, lady. Tanya, I love working with you so much. You are so amazing. Can you please tell everyone how they can connect with you and find out more about you? Because I know they'll want to do that.
So, Instagram, thanks to you, Kinsey, I've got
Hey.
Instagram clearly is the choice. And yeah, they can check my confidence challenge on my Instagram and register to it and do it with me at the same time.
Oh, I know. I love that confidence challenge. Okay, guys, make sure you check out Tanya at Tania Cuturi Coaching, and I will link it in the show notes below. Thank you so much for joining me, lady. I so appreciate you.
Love being here. Thank you.
How awesome is Tanya, you guys? If you enjoyed this conversation as much as I did, make sure that you give her a follow and share it with someone else who would enjoy listening as well. Please share it to your Instagram stories. Make sure you tag me and Tanya at Feel Good Social and at Tania Cuturi Coaching because we would love to see it, reshare it, and spread the love right back to you, my friend. I hope that you have a wonderful week, and I will catch you next year. Thanks so much for listening, my friend. For show notes and a whole lot of other awesome freebies, visit feelgoodsocial.com. Simply go to feelgoodsocial.com for all the goods.